At 7 minutes past 7. Welcome back to Good Morning Kenya. Today being a Tuesday, it's people and politics. We are going to focus on what is happening within the political landscape and everything in between. Before we delve into the topic of the day, allow me to take you through the front pages of our local dailies, and I'm going to start with the Daily Nation. Daily Nation is reporting a story here regarding the tea sector. Tea barons' $3 billion deal costs Kenyan farmers Iran market. In 2023, Cup of Joe, a Kenyan tea exporter, sealed a deal with Debsh, an Iranian firm, for a consignment worth $20 million. That is, in Kenyan shillings, that is 2.6 billion. Mr. Kamau Kiminda, the local company's director, was no stranger to the tea business, but this was no ordinary transaction. That story is told on page 4 of the Daily Nation. Alarm over bloody start of the year with horror road crashes, highways of death. At least 27 people have been killed in road accidents in the first 4 days of the new year, raising concerns. The carnage that occasioned more deaths last year compared to 2024 still persists. The latest tragedy claimed 10 lives at Karai on the Nakuru-Nairobi highway, where the former minister Cyrus Jirongo died in December. That story is told on page 2 of the Daily Nation. Ruto faces Mount Kenya test as a UDA holds grassroots elections. The polls are expected to be a major popularity test for the president in a region where his former deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, is marketing a new party, that is DCP. That story is told in detail on page 8 of the Daily Nation. The Star is reporting that how bodyguards betrayed President Nicolas Maduro. This is a story regarding the Venezuelan president who is in the U.S. custody. U.S. delayed operation for 4 days because of unfavorable weather. That story is told in detail on page 4 and 5 of the Star newspaper. MPs call for probe into Alai Babu gun drama amid growing tension. That story is told on page 8. And about the weather, it will be hot and dry till March, but some places will get rains. That is according to the meteorological department, and that story is told on page 8 of the Star newspaper. Let's look at what is being reported on the front page of the Standard. For nearly a die-hard traitor, this is what is captured on the front page of the Standard. Die-hard traitor. For nearly 15 years, Suna East MP Junet Mohammed has hardly missed in the country's key political moments. A man unafraid of even mortifying himself, if need be, to sell his political agenda or that of his masters to the masses, is suddenly facing unexpected attacks, which include a Judas Iscariot label from his fellow leaders in ODM party. His responses have, rather than cool tempers, flared them, and even parties yesterday refused to comment on the matter. And instead, MPs drawn from it called on its leader to call for a housekeeping meeting. That story is told on pages 6, 7, and 8 of the Standard newspaper. And actually, that forms the part of our conversations, today's conversation, because we want to look at ODM's identity and direction. And to that effect, in studio, I'm joined by Thomas Omar, who is a governance and political expert. Welcome to Good Morning Kenya, and Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year, Mike.
Umekuwa aje?
Nimekuwa salama kabisa. Na wewe?
Mimi nimekuwa salama kabisa. We are back at work.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. And Mheshimiwa Mark Dingo is a politician and governance expert. Karibu sana.
Asante, Mike.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
The holiday imekupeleka aje?
Holiday haikuwa mbaya. Yeah.
We thank God.
It was good.
Yes.
Tulipata mvua kidogo. Yeah, and we thank God.
Very important. I want to, before we even get into our day's conversation, I want to get your feel of the front page of The Star, where it is reported how bodyguards betrayed President Nicolas Maduro, an operation that led to the capture of Venezuelan President Maduro. And I'll start with you, Omar, because you are a consumer of local politics and geopolitics. What do you make of that? The U.S. moved to capture the Venezuelan president and arraign him in an American court.
Mike, about that, there is a serious conversation that I've been having in the recent past with Professor Kaudo Philip.
Yes.
That's a professor of political science who currently tutelages at the University of Nairobi. And this conversation was around international law. And the question that I posed to this friend of mine, is whether, and this is the question that I asked, is international law? Are you getting that point?
Is international law?
Article 2.7 of the United Nations Charter is very crystal clear on non-interference of domestic affairs of other countries. What does it basically imply when the United States of America enters a sovereign state, smokes out a sitting president, then takes him to the United States to try him? That's a serious question that we are still discussing. The same international law has set institutions such as the International Court of Justice, the International Criminal Court, that is headquartered in The Hague. Since that institution was set up, since time immemorial, it's only African heads of state that have been tried. The other day, the United States of America was indicated in that court. The same to Israel. Why is it that those other countries are not part and parcel of this body? Back to your question. We saw the Delta Force, that's the elite force among the United Nations Army, went to Venezuela, smoked out President Nicolas Maduro, and extradited him to the United States of America for purposes of trial. So what does it basically imply? From the historical context, Mike, we have what we call the Monroe Doctrine. And with respect to the Monroe Doctrine, the United States of America was supposed to be in charge of the Western Hemisphere, including the Americas. So what this basically implies is that as the head boy of the Western Hemisphere and also the Caribbean Sea, the United States of America cannot just sit down and watch countries like Russia and also China take charge of the Caribbean Sea. Because, you know, the moment the USA is in charge of the Caribbean Sea, it basically implies that it controls all the trade routes in that particular sea. And when President Nicolas Maduro was arrested, there is something that came to my mind. You see, all along, Russia and China have been claiming to be allies of Venezuela. And in fact, the material day when Maduro was arrested, there were high-profile individuals from China who had gone to discuss matters of trade, to discuss matters of foreign policy with Venezuela. And on that same day, President Nicolas Maduro was arrested. So initially, I thought the world was a bipolar system, a bipolar system in the sense that we have two centers of power. That is the United States of America from one side, and also China and Russia from the other side. But now, when Trump entered Venezuela and smoked out President Nicolas Maduro, I now got convinced that we have a unipolar system, with the United States of America being the global hegemony. Because if at all Russia and China were allies of Venezuela, why could they not protect President Nicolas Maduro? That was one question. Another question, what about the intelligence? Why was Russia and China not sharing the intelligence with Venezuela? And another thing, we saw the president of Cuba, President Miguel, strongly stand firm with Venezuela and say that Cuba is going to stand firm with Venezuela. But now, another serious question that arises is if a sitting president can be smoked out and tried in a foreign country, this must raise serious questions with countries that are against US, like Brazil, countries like Colombia, countries like also Cuba, as I've mentioned. So I think according to the United Nations Charter, and as I've mentioned, Mike, Article 2.7 in particular, that states that there should be no interference of domestic affairs of other countries. That article should be upheld so that at least we have some sort of sobriety in the global scale. Yes.
Makndingo, what do you make of all that within the context of geopolitics?
Thank you. I think what happened with the Venezuela president was more of Americans trying to set, or rather to stamp their authority in that part of the region. Because for one, when Trump was elected in his second term, he came with a policy of America first. And I tend to think this was something which was expected, because there has been some issues with Venezuela concerning the drugs and so many Venezuelans trooping to America. And if you look at what is happening with Trump for the last few months when he was elected, he has his tone has always been that he wants to have Americans for Americans. And it was something that was expected to happen. But I think it's something which needs to be condemned, because capturing a president from a country which is a sovereign state is not something we can encourage, because we need to have that respect of international laws, where even if we have an issue with a country, there are so many ways we can solve those issues. And Trump capturing Maduro was not the best option at that time. But I think all the same, it is sending a message to some countries which have always been abusing human rights, that if you don't govern this, in a way that fits the law, you are going to be the next victim. So I think it's something we need to condemn also, and it's also something we need to learn, that for other countries that are not having good governance, they need to also be prepared anytime Trump is going to come for them. Thank you.
All right. We're also joined by Wakili Gibson Gisore, who is an advocate of the High Court. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much, Mike.
How are you doing this New Year?
I've not seen you.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you.
Yes.
You know, you are just talking about, we're briefly talking about the events that happened over the weekend regarding the capture of a Venezuelan president by the American troops. And there's something that Omar said. Actually, it's a question. Is international law?
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's an interesting discussion to have in the new year,
Yes.
to say the least, because as we stand right now, I think it's a clear demonstration that we do not have international law at play as we know it. At least we need to move on from that and have a different discussion. This is exhibited even by the reaction of the other countries and their premiers or presidents when they heard that Maduro had been picked at the middle of the night and he was on his way to New York. And you know, this could be able to happen to anybody. As it stands right now, I think America is trying to show its superiority. And if you don't align with America, then you are considered to be a miscreant gang, and you are a subject to be mistreated, to be given sanctions, and to also be, you stand even to be picked at the middle of the night. I understand Maduro was even living inside a military barracks. I'm wondering what happened. I don't think they even shot one bullet at the Americans. So they're trying to show their superiority. I think you saw how Trump is trying to say that this can only be done by the American army only. No other army in the world can be able to do that. Maduro had invested very well in defense systems, security systems, but how they went circumvented that and picked him is a question for another day. But from not going far from the legal question is, you see, the aspect of international law was meant to safeguard issue of sovereignty. But as it stands, if a different country can be able to attack, as we have seen in the case of Russia attacking Ukraine, and America was quiet, didn't actually started to encourage the other side to fight strongly. It becomes very difficult now because it's only the Russia which can be able to even make any statement, and you see they even don't sit at the G7 or the veto countries. They were already expelled. So that gives America the bully boy platform which they are able to now stand around under. The other thing you could see is what happened, I think, recently also in the peace process in Palestine and Israel. We saw America parade even the UK Prime Minister there to sign some funny deal which the other side had not consented to. So, and recently we saw what happened in the DRC. Kagame, even our president, was also invited there. So it's like, it's either you are with America or you are on your own. And if you are on your own, then we stand to be attacked, you stand to be vilified, you stand to be sanctions to be laid upon your country and all sorts of things. So as it stands, any president who is not in good books with the United States of America is just waiting for his time.
Indeed.
Yeah, especially if you have minerals and oil, you are on the wrong side of it. I understand that Venezuela has one of the largest resources of oil and other minerals, critical minerals, which the U.S. will want to lay their hands on, and no other country should be able to lay their hands on. So that is the big trouble which is actually causing all these things. Were it that Venezuela does not have minerals, I don't think, and there are even poorer countries down there. Understand even the aspect of the aspect of drugs. They only contribute 0.8% of the drugs which get into America. So that's not even a big deal. They are big players who should be picked at the middle of the night, not Maduro, not somebody operating at that 0.8%.
Indeed,
Yes.
indeed. Of course, we shall be keeping tabs on that story. as it develops and bring you up to speed with the events as they unfold. Coming back home, I want us to focus on what is going on within ODM, given that recently we've seen war of words between ODM members and party leaders. And this is bringing a lot of questions in regards to the future identity and also the direction that the ODM is taking. And yesterday, Rarieda MP Otiende Amolo did call on the party leader to ensure that these wrangles are reined in on. So, because recently, actually, as recent as 23rd of December 2025, there was a research conducted by TIFA, and findings did indicate that ODM still remains the most popular party within the country, followed by UDA. But when it comes to matters of unity, the disagreements that we are seeing, that is where they are falling short, because there are those who want to stay aligned with the aspect of broad-based government, meaning that they are supporting President William Ruto, and also there are those who are pushing for a return to a clearer opposition stance. So let me pose this question to you, Omao. What do you make of all that is going on within ODM party?
One thing that I'm very, very certain, Mike, is that the moment a founding member of a political party or an organization dies, then that is just but the beginning of an end of that particular organization. Mm-hmm. For example, in the year 2018, Morgan Tsvangirai mm-hmm. was the founding member of the Movement for Democracy Party in Zimbabwe. Mm-hmm. When Morgan Tsvangirai died, there were serious wrangles within that particular party. Yes. In fact, that was the largest opposition political party in Zimbabwe. But when Tsvangirai died in 2018, there was serious infighting within the party. People like the strongman Nelson Chamisa and people like Dr. Thokozani Kupe mm-hmm. left that party and formed their own political outfit, which is the Citizen Movement Party. So when a founding member of a political party dies, then that is just but the beginning of mm-hmm. an end of that political outfit. Mm-hmm. A good example that I've given you is from Zimbabwe. So after the demise of Morgan Tsvangirai, that was the beginning of an end mm-hmm. of MDC. Because the strong people within that outfit left and began their own political parties. Uh-huh. And the only remaining person in that party currently is someone by the name Douglas Monzora, who is an advocate of the High Court and also a member of parliament. So back here at home, we have seen serious ideological differences within the Orange Democratic Party. We have those political figureheads who feel that Dr. Oburu Odinga is not the right person to steer the boat of ODM towards 2027. We also have those radicals within the party who feel that the party should not support President William Ruto in mm-hmm. the next elections. Yes. People like Professor Nyang' Nyong'o, people like James Aggrey Orengo, the governor for Siaya, feel that this is the strongest party that has its own values and principles that the party should not go against. We have also eavesdropped somewhere that there are cartels within this party who have at some point wanted to auction it to President William Ruto. The other day I saw someone speak that Homa Bay governor and the Suna East member of parliament are the ones who want to auction the party to President William Ruto, so that the president himself uses the party as his political vehicle as we approach the elections of 2027. Mm-hmm. So what I want to say is that initially, even before the death of Raila Amolo Odinga, ODM was seen to be the party that championed for the rights of the less privileged in the society, is the one that was fighting for the people in the society. So those principles must continue even without Raila Amolo Odinga.
Okay, okay. Okay, that's a very important point to put that. But I want us to continue with this conversation after this short break, because this is a very interesting thing that we are witnessing within the ODM party. We are coming back to this conversation after this break. All right, welcome back to Good Morning Kenya. This is People and Politics, and we are talking about ODM's identity and direction. And Mark Ndingo, when you look at what is happening within ODM, and pegging on what Omau said in the course of his executing his point, is this the beginning of the end of the largest party in Kenya?
Thank you, Migwi. I think that that brings us to the question of, do we have parties in Kenya founded on ideology? Mm-hmm. And the answer is no, because most parties in Kenya are formed on personalities as opposed to ideology. Mm-hmm. And that's why you find any founding member of a party, when he passes on or he leaves the party, you will always find some issues with that party. And this is the case of ODM. What is happening is something to do with finding a way of how they are going to succeed Raila, and that will be, I think, a tall order, because I don't think in ODM there is anybody who can fit in the shoes of Raila. I want also to go back to some months back when the broad-based government was formed, and that could also form part of the problem we are witnessing in ODM, because when they came to an agreement with the current government, that is the Kenya Kwanza, the party leader, who is Raila, the former prime minister, did not give a right direction on where the party was going to go in the coming years, because you find he left the party with two factions, and I think that was a way of managing the president, mm-hmm. so that anytime he finds he's not fitting the government, he would vote out. Mm-hmm. And if he finds he can fit in the government, he will still remain in the government. And that brought the two factions, the one with the Secretary General, Sifuna, and the other one with the so-called experts of the government, Kinambadi and Wandai and Joho. So I think what we are witnessing is something which is going to cost the party, and we have not seen much yet, because if you listen to the total of Raila, he is reading from a different script from his uncle and even the mother. So, and we have a group of members who are so much into this government that they are going to do anything to make ODM remain in the government. And that means we are going to have a divided ODM, and very soon we are going to have no party by the name ODM. So I think it's something they need to find a solution, which I don't think it will be found, because we have very different people, two different factions who have different ideological differences, which I don't think are going to be solved anytime sooner. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Indeed. That brings a lot of issues in terms of what you say in matters to do with identity, and also when the party like ODM is divided, to whose advantage is it? But before we get back to that, I want us to look at a news article that is talking about what Otiende Amolo yesterday was saying. Let's take a look at that.
The spectacle of self-cannibalization that has been exhibited of late in our party. It is testament to how much we miss the wisdom and iconic leadership of our departed leader, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, that divisive rhetoric has taken over our politics without restraint. We call upon the party's elected leadership and the wider membership to uphold the tenets of unity and camaraderie espoused by the late Raila Odinga.
We have convened ourselves as concerned members of Parliament from ODM, and if you can judge us from where we are coming from whatever is coming out, you'll agree with us that we have not taken any side.
The ODM bigwigs concerned with the effect of the ongoing mudslinging, one that failure to address the issues with urgency will allow small parties to occupy political spaces previously occupied by ODM. They are confident, however, the internal wrangles can be solved internally without involving the National Delegates Conference.
Our challenges are self-inflicted. We must come as a party and look inwardly and solve our issues internally and stop blaming other people. We are the ones inflicting harm upon ourselves. We are creating a lot of confusion with our membership.
ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna and the leader of minority party in the National Assembly, Junet Mohammed, have been engaged in counter-accusations over the party's management of resources for the last general elections, a subject the Otiende-led caucus refused to comment on.
What's going on is the democracy in the D in ODM. ODM stands for the Orange Democratic Movement Party of Kenya. But two, that there are mechanisms that are in place, and as much as we are having this press statement, we're also in conversation with our party leader along the same lines. There's no disconnect.
That is Rarieda MP Otiende Amolo speaking there. And Wakili, some of the things that have come out of that conference is he spoke of upholding tenets of unity and camaraderie, and also democracy within ODM. The aspect of unity within ODM, is that playing out and to its advantage, given that there are continuing or ongoing war of words between party officials?
I think he's just trying to, from what I can get, what he's saying is that it's okay. He's trying to even allude it to the democracy in ODM. But from where I sit, I don't think that is the case. It's because that they're just trying to do some damage control. Because what we can see is a typical case of the death of an African father who was polygamous or had many kids. The sons will start fighting. One wakes up, states one statement, accuses the other of having mismanaged the family resources. Another one wakes up, says, you know, you and your mother, you look like you didn't come from here. So that is the typical case. And what is true as the sun could rise tomorrow is that ODM is no longer the ODM we know, because ODM was formed around the political figure Baba, who is now not there. That is where you can hear even and then the party leadership itself is also not one which inspires confidence, because as you can see, the statement they're giving, there's not even a chairman. There's no chairman. They're just members and the vice chairman. So what does that mean? If you saw the kind of statements we saw in Jirongo's burial the other day from the officials of the party, then it could tell you clearly that ODM is not reading from the same script. The accusations and counter-accusations among not even the small members, but the party officials, the ones who should be speaking in one voice, who should be convening a meeting and then giving direction, is what is even more worrying. That aside is that what does that portend for Kenya? I think that's where my concern is. ODM, as we know it, is one of the critical parties, or through its membership, which played a key role in coming up with the Constitution 2010. And it has been the vanguard of any progress or any realization of the benefits of the Constitution 2010. That is where Kenyans have endeared themselves towards ODM, with the belief that this is the party which understands where we have come from and where we're supposed to be going, speaking for the small person. So the people who used to show up for rallies or demonstrations called by the party leader, the late party leader Raila Amolo Odinga, they were not doing it because they like him. They were doing it because of what he stands for and what the party has been seen to be standing for. So that is the biggest loss we have suffered as Kenyans, because the current leadership or the direction the party is taking is not one which somebody can really count on and say that is still the same party which we knew as some years back. So that is a big loss for Kenyans, and it takes serious leadership to be able to steer the party back to the kind of to the hearts and souls of Kenyans. What needs to be done is that you see, what we have is an interim sort of leadership. They need to now do mobilization and be able to do elections across the country through the current leadership. Once that the people are put in office, now they will be legitimately be in office. Once they have been able to even choose a party leader or even ratify the current one who is there, who will now speaking with mandate. So once that happens, then they can be able to be akin to the snake which sheds off its old skin and takes on a new skin which is now fit for the purpose. But that is not an easier, that is an easier process said than done.
Yes.
Because it needs resources, it needs organization, and it needs unity. And it needs people to believe in the unity of the party, which as it stands, I don't think is the case. Then remember, the other challenge they stand to face is the one that they are in government. And I'm not sure whether the broad-based government, one of its agendas is to see a stronger party. So that will also be risking the relationship they have with the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. I think for me, where I sit is they need to go back to the old Azimio and then reconstitute. Because as ODM, as a unit, they might not be as strong as they expect to be. So if they can be able to play along the Azimio side, then they have even a better stand at making a case for themselves.
Yes. Omam, is a split ODM an advantage to the broad-based government or a detriment to it?
I think it's a serious detriment, more especially to President William Ruto, because with respect to William Ruto, he wanted to galvanize the party, make it united, so that he uses it. In fact, I have a very close friend of mine who works for the president as a political advisor. He at some point told me that don't be surprised to see President William Ruto use ODM as his political vehicle as we approach the elections of 2027. And as you are aware, Mike, is that President William Ruto is preparing for re-election, and we will leave nothing will be left to chance. He'll make sure that he unites each and everyone so that he gets the support of that particular party, and more especially Raila's political bastion of Nyanza and Western as we approach the elections of 2027. Yeah.
Mark Ndingo, when you look at the ODM and what is happening, can a party remain electorally credible while straddling both government, the side of government, corporation, and also still positioning itself within the side, on the side of opposition?
Thank you. I think before I comment on that, I want comment on something Omar has said about the government, the president being divided, ODM being a detriment to ODM. I think it's working to the advantage of the president, because a divided ODM is good for him, because he can penetrate the voting blocks of ODM easier than when it is united. Because if you look at the two factions, it's only one faction which is too much in the broad-based government as more than the other. And when ODM is divided, he's going to reap more than when they are united, because you don't know what will happen once they are united and they have a good leadership. They might decide to run away from the broad-based government. Coming to your question, for a political party to survive, it has to have a clear direction of where the party is going. You cannot survive in a situation whereby you have one foot in the government and another foot in the opposition. And I think there was a big blunder for the former president to have gone without having given a direction on where the party was going. Because even during his times, you could hear some people talk about being in the opposition, and others talk about being in the government. And even they went even further to say that in 2027 they are going to support the president. So in a situation like that, you always bring confusion, you always bring confused party and without direction, and it's going to lose much on that, because nobody knows where ODM is going. Because even now, we have even some officials, the likes of Sifuna, saying it publicly, that they are not even going to support the government in 2027. And remember, one time the former Prime Minister said that Sifuna was talking, whatever Sifuna was talking was the position of the party. So that one alone can bring a lot of confusion. And it's one of the things which is going to divide that party further. I think what they need to do is we have a clear and party leader who is elected by the party, as opposed to appointing somebody to lead the party. And if you look at even what the other people are saying, it's like when Oburu was being nominated to be the party leader, it is something that was done by very few people, as opposed to having a meeting for the whole party officials and deciding on who was supposed to take over for the time being. I think those are some of the issues which are affecting the party, and I think if they don't do something soon, we are going to see a disgregated ODM in the coming days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wakili, can these wrangles be solved internally once and for all?
Yes, it's possible for them to be solved, but now the question is, or the bigger question they need to face is, do they have structures to solve that? You see, if a parent, as I used the case earlier, if a parent did not put very clear structures in the family on how leadership is executed, and in case he's not around, who should be able to take charge, then those systems cannot bring themselves once he's gone. So the big question we should be asking ourselves, does ODM have structures for solving internal wrangles? Clearly from what is happening, I don't think they do, or if they do, they don't respect them. The second thing is, the goodwill, because do the party members have the goodwill to go through such structures? Or do even those structures have teeth to actually be able to effect discipline in the party? So those are some of the critical questions which we look at. Because for a country to be considered failed, Mike, is failure of its internal structures. For example, the judiciary is very corrupt, which cannot be able to, nobody trusts this. When the parliament is maybe not playing its role, then that country is safe and ripe to be considered to be a basket case for a failed state. So for ODM, the question which we should be asking is, does it have internal processes? Does its NEC have power? Do even the members of the NEC know themselves? Or do they even identify that they can be able to sit and make a deliberation on the best way forward? Does it have a form of a tribunal or another section which is housed under the legal department, which can be able to execute consequences for people who are speaking outside the party's outlined rules or directions? The case as it is, from what I can see, Sifuna wakes up, accuses the minority leader. Next, the party leader is also saying we are deeply in government. Next, the other people are saying a lot of different things. They're shooting from different sides. That clearly tells you that they don't respect the structures, or the structures do not exist. Or if they exist, they don't respect the people running them, or the people running them actually do not even understand their roles. Or there is no clear modus operandi for the party. And that is a very big problem. That is why I think we can safely conclude that ODM as a party as we know it is gone. We just maybe need to, that's why they're even talking about selling the party. I had the former President Uhuru, some accusations run around that he's interested, and then the other people are saying that it's being sold to the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. So all these do not come from, they don't just come out of the whim. It is maybe a clear trajectory of where people have sat and seen there's no party here. So the only other thing which we can do is find another safe house to go and lodge. And that is where now everybody's trying to align the party ownership to some other house which is more stable. So the bigger aspect is they don't have leadership. Then the second aspect is that they don't, even the members who are in the party don't feel safe to be run by the current leadership. They want a more safer house, more steady house. Yes. You know, leadership poses a vacuum. So much as it's not a vacuum per se, but then the current leadership does not seem to speak strongly on issues party, and then even if it does not reflect on the members.
Indeed. In the interest of time, I'm going to give you each a minute to give your closing remarks, and I will start with you, Mark Lingo.
Thank you. I think what I can say is that to ODM, they need to look for a better way of bringing their members together, and they stop giving different directions to our people, because it's a party that has been there for the last 15 years, and we would want ODM to exist so that even the founding member, that is the former Prime Minister, can also, wherever he is, feel good. To the country, I think, let's hope the year is going to go well, and we expect to have better and healthy discussion as pertains to the politics of Kenya.
Thank you. Thank you. Omar.
Okay, mine, Mike, is to send a very, very strong message, especially to the united opposition. And it's my clarion call to this political formation to be very, very serious, especially if they want President William Ruto in the elections of 2027. The message is that removing William Ruto from office will not be a walking in a park, as they say. Let us see that particular they are not united in the first thing. And if they continue misbehaving this way as we approach these elections, then their Waterloo will be most probably met at exactly 9 a.m. on the election day in 2027.
Yes.
Otherwise, I wish my brothers and fellow Kenyans at large a happy and prosperous New Year 2026.
Indeed. Wakili?
Yes, I think for me, Mike, is really to ground the point I was making for ODM, that if ODM, and the reason I make that point is because ODM seems to be a bedrock of democracy politics in Kenya, and it's safer for us to have strong parties. For whatever it is, ODM needs to put their house in order and be able to have clear leadership which can inspire Kenyans and its members. First, they need to start by going out and ensuring that they go back to the people. They seek to get the opinion of the people on the new direction of the party. Once they have done that, then let them congregate for an AGM and then give the way forward on where the party should be going, and put people who can inspire the party and lead the party to the future from now on. The longer that takes, the more the death alarms keep ringing in everybody's ears, and it's not for them, it's for the country.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for making time to come on Good Morning Kenya and talk about matters to do with the political landscape within the country, and specifically ODM's identity and direction. That is Gibson Gisore, who is an advocate of the High Court, also Thomas Omar, who is a governance and political expert, and Mheshimiwa Mark Ndingo, who is a politician and governance expert. This is where this conversation ends, but Good Morning Kenya still continues. We have a joint production with Radio Taifa, and they'll be talking about JSS transition to senior school. That session will be steered by one Dora Maya. My name is Mike Megwe. Thank you for tuning in, and keep it KBC Channel 1.